Good afternoon. Here's what's making news this Monday, the 30th of June. An off-duty paramedic saves the life of a teenager mauled by a shark in northern New South Wales. Jurors in the triple murder trial of Erin Patterson are poised to deliver their verdict as the weeks-long case draws to a close. A man arrested and a woman on the run after crashing an allegedly stolen car into a Melbourne tram stop. Anthony Albanese to make his case for a deal with Donald Trump to exempt Australia from the looming US tariffs. Millions on the East Coast warned to brace for a bomb cyclone, with Sydney tipped to cop more than 200 millimetres of rain in the next week. And a last-minute goal from Slovenia brings an end to the unbeaten start for new Matildas coach Joe Montemuro.
This is 10 News Lunchtime with Angela Bishop.
Good afternoon. We begin in northern New South Wales, where a young hero has recalled the terrifying moment he rescued a teenager from the jaws of a shark. The surfer not only fought off the predator, but helped to carry him to shore and stop the bleeding. Tiani Reid is at Cabarita.
In a moment of fight or flight, one 18-year-old chose to swim towards the danger as a tourist was being pulled underwater by a shark. Adrenaline kicked in and Jacob Atchison became a hero. Here's what he had to say to us earlier.
I was out surfing, I was teaching my mate to surf, and I hear a bunch of yelling and screaming, and I look over and there's someone yelling out, and I look past him and I see a bunch of action in the water. I paddle over. I'm not going to let this boy go down. And I was pretty enraged at the shark as well. I remember throwing some arms and yelling and kicking my legs. I made contact with the shark, I think, and then the shark kind of backed off after that and was able to pull the boy up. So after this, I was kind of in a bit of a pool of blood, and so I had to grab his arm to stop the bleeding. I could almost touch the ground, so I had to swim for a little bit, and then I could kind of kick off the ground. And another surfer came over and helped me pretty much immediately. I was telling him he was all right, and he said, yeah, I'll be okay. And it was great to hear that from his lips, that he was going to be okay. I remember looking over once we had him on the shore and seeing the shark just staring at me and right there on the edge of the water. And yeah, I was enraged at the shark. I grabbed just above the wound with my hands, really tight. And the bleeding managed to stop. We also got a leg rope on once we got him to the beach. I think that there should have been more blood, but there wasn't. And so I believe it's a miracle that first of all, he's alive, and that the shark didn't eat both of us as it followed us all the way in.
The 16-year-old victim suffered significant injuries to his arm and leg and remains in a serious condition at the Gold Coast University Hospital. But as many witnesses have shared with us today, he is very lucky to be alive.
Police have arrested a man hiding in a recycling bin after an allegedly stolen car smashed into a barrier at a Melbourne tram stop. Witnesses report the man and a woman were seen at the Flemington station trying to kick in the car's windscreen before taking several items and fleeing. Officers, along with the dog squad, began a search for the pair before locating the man and transporting him to hospital. A firearm, drugs and a machete were found inside the vehicle. The woman remains on the run. The jury in Erin Patterson's triple murder trial is poised to begin deliberations as the court enters its 10th week. Justice Christopher Beale is now into his 5th day of delivering instructions to the jury on how to deliberate a verdict. He summarised the prosecution's case of lies Ms Patterson allegedly told before, during and after the lethal lunch in July 2023. He told jurors if they find she has lied, they can use that to decide whether or not to believe the other things she has said. But the telling of lies does not make her guilty. Justice Beale has outlined the elements of murder which need to be proven beyond reasonable doubt, including that her conduct was conscious, voluntary and deliberate, and that she intended to kill or seriously harm her lunch guests. Erin Patterson has pleaded not guilty to killing 3 of her in-laws and poisoning a 4th with death cap mushrooms served in a beef Wellington dish. US President Donald Trump has revealed a pause on tariffs on imports from overseas, including Australia, will not be extended. Live to federal political reporter Matthew Castunan at Parliament House in Canberra. Matt, how has our Prime Minister responded?
Yeah, good afternoon, Ange. Anthony Albanese is still positive Australia will be exempt from those tariffs, despite already being hit with a 10% on all of those imports into America earlier this year. Now, the PM this morning was spruiking his government's cash bonus for apprentices scheme, meeting tradies in training here in Canberra. Now, from tomorrow, apprentices will be eligible for 5 $2,000 payments, totalling $10,000 in the hopes of getting more Aussies on the tools. But today's main focus is foreign policy. US President Donald Trump revealing countries, including Australia, will start to receive letters around how much their country's products will be taxed. And the clock is ticking. The tariff pause is expected to come to an end on July 9.
We'll look at how a country treats us. Are they good? Are they not so good? Some countries, we don't care. We'll just send a high number out. But we're going to be sending letters out starting pretty soon. No, we don't have to meet. We understand. We have all the numbers. Listen, what we're going to do is we're going to send, and we're going to say, congratulations, we're allowing you to shop in the United States of America. You're going to pay a 25% tariff or a 35% or a 50% or 10%.
We'll continue to put our case forward that it shouldn't be 10, it should be 0. That is what a reciprocal tariff will be. We have a US free trade agreement, of course, and we've put forward very clearly our arguments. We'll continue to do so.
Now, Foreign Affairs Minister Penny Wong is visiting the US this week to hold talks during the Quad, the second meeting of foreign ministers in the past 6 months. Senator Wong is also expected to meet with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio to discuss what she's called bilateral cooperation. Anthony Albanese, though, he remains adamant he will secure a meeting with Donald Trump at some point this year. Ange?
Matthew Castunan in Canberra, thank you. Millions along the East Coast are being warned to prepare for extreme weather over the coming days, with an East Coast low set to bring heavy rain and wild winds. For more, 10 News First meteorologist Josh Holt joins us now. Josh, there's been a lot of talk we could see a bomb cyclone. Is that the case?
Yeah, that is actually the case. Now, I want to stress, Ange, this is not a rain bomb. That's a ridiculous term that gets regurgitated in the media from time to time. A bomb cyclone is actually an official meteorological term, and it refers to the process of bombogenesis, which is when a low-pressure system drops a lot in central pressure very quickly indeed. The criteria of that at this latitude, near where Sydney is around about 15 hectopascals or greater in a 24-hour period. So basically, this low-pressure system is going to get strong in a very short period of time.
So how hazardous are conditions expected to be?
Well, they're going to be very hazardous and possibly deadly indeed in some areas. Now, I'm really stressing that this weather system is going to be very dangerous indeed. Now, the reason being is East Coast lows are notorious for this. 2016, June, we saw Collaroy get absolutely decimated by an East Coast low. We also saw it back in June 2007 when the Pasha Bolka washed up onshore at Nobby's Beach in Newcastle, as you can see in that vision there. So we are expecting very strong winds, widespread at over 100 kilometres per hour along parts of the New South Wales coast. I think we'll see isolated gusts at around about 115 kilometres per hour. In terms of rainfall, you're looking at about 200 millimetres plus. Some areas, though, will record totals of 300 to 400 millimetres. Now, that is going to cause flooding in some areas. I think from the East Coast low, the biggest threat, along with the river flooding, will also be flash flooding in some areas, which can catch people off guard. And that's why these weather systems can be quite deadly.
When will we see a reprieve?
Well, it looks like the worst of the weather will happen on Tuesday into Wednesday. I think by Wednesday afternoon, what we're going to find is, in terms of the modelling, that low begins to move off into the Tasman Sea towards New Zealand. So as that happens, the conditions, the winds, the heavy rain will start to push offshore, and it should really return to normal probably by around about Thursday. And then we're back to sunny skies Friday. So it's a burst of around about 48 hours of severe weather.
Thanks, Josh. Police are searching for 3 arsonists who torched 3 cars and the front of a southwestern Sydney home. Hannah Taylor reports.
Well, it was a lucky escape for residents at this Leppington home targeted by firebugs early this morning. It was not long after 2 a.m. that 3 cars were torched, the flames also scorching the front of the house and blowing out the top windows. Security vision shows 3 people walking to the home wearing hoodies and face coverings, fleeing a couple of minutes later as the cars went up. Thankfully, the residents were evacuated safely, but once outside, a 24-year-old man is accused of threatening and kicking police officers on scene. He's set to front court today on 2 charges of hindering or resisting a police officer alongside intimidation and assault. Neighbours, meanwhile, are recovering from their own sleepless night, fearing the blaze could have spread to their own homes.
I hear the alarm twice and then it stopped. Saw in the window and it's like burn, like full-on burn. With the 2 cars I saw.
Police remained at the scene until midday as they combed through the car wrecks and the home, searching for any trace that the offenders left behind.
State of Origin Game 3 next Wednesday in Sydney is set to be a blockbuster, with both coaches naming their sides for the decider as they head into camp this week. Maroons coach Billy Slater has made a raft of major changes, handing Bronco Gemmet Shibasaki his Origin debut. The Queenslander has also brought prop Josh Papali'i out of representative retirement for the clash, arriving tomorrow. And after coaching staff reportedly held a 3-hour-long debate over who was to replace injured Kalen Ponga at fullback, they've landed on moving Hamiso Tabuai-Fidau from the centres. Reece Walsh is 18th man. While Blues coach Laurie Daly has stuck to his word, naming an unchanged starting side from the one that lost Game 2. They've also opted for the same bench, though Matt Burton has been dropped as 18th man, with fellow Bulldog Jacob Kiraz replacing him. Brian To'o has been cleared to play, with Penrith also backing Nathan Cleary to be fit for the decider, despite both battling recent injuries. The honeymoon is over for new Matildas coach Joe Montemuro, the Tillies failing to capitalise in their second friendly against Slovenia in Perth. An extra-time equaliser making it 1-1. James Broadhurst has the details.
After a 3-0 win just a few days ago, it took the Tillies a little while to find their feet against a stubborn Slovenia squad. But 5 minutes into the second half, captain Ellie Carpenter combined with Michelle Heyman for her 31st goal in the green and gold.
Intelligent ball inside to find Carpenter, and an even better finish. And it is from none other than Michelle Heyman.
I just love Ellie. She's got so much energy, and you just know that she's going to put everything she can into it to beat her defenders, and she does so each time. And it was a really good ball. It was easy for myself to be able to put that one away.
After plenty of changes from both sides, Slovenia swarmed the box in extra time, delivering the equaliser.
Smashed into the back of the net by Slovenia. Their first ever goal against Australia.
We were taking more care with the possession, moving the ball with a bit more purpose and keeping the ball, less of those sloppy turnovers we saw the other night. But yeah, of course, we want to keep it to a clean sheet, so that's the next thing.
A last-minute deal breaker for the Matildas, who would have loved to have made it 2 from 2 for new coach Joe Montemuro, whose focus now shifts to Panama. He'll have his hands full with 8 players departing after tonight's draw, meaning plenty of changes ahead. After tonight's heartbreaking draw, the Tillies will be spending the week in Perth before taking on Panama on Saturday, and they'll be doing that in Bunbury, about 2 hours south of Perth. You can catch all the action live and exclusive on Paramount+.
Oscar Piastri has maintained his position at the top of the F1 Drivers' Championship, coming in second at the Austrian Grand Prix. The McLaren driver lost to his teammate Lando Norris, who now trails him by 15 points on the leaderboard. Piastri was almost out of the race entirely, managing to survive a near crash that would have dropped him from the leaderboard. Red Bull's Max Verstappen wasn't as lucky, crashing out on the first lap with his teammate trailing in last. A bottlenose dolphin has been rescued after being found stranded in shallow waters at New Brighton, near Brunswick Heads, over the weekend. A team of rescuers from the SeaWorld Foundation managed to surround the male mammal, which had been stranded for more than a day and a half. After a check-up from vets, the dolphin was taken on a quick bushwalk in a stretcher before being placed in a deeper section of water 600 metres away at Christmas Beach. The animal was last spotted safely swimming away. Coming up today on 10 News Lunchtime, Israel orders further evacuations as airstrikes intensify. Also ahead, an armed